with a smile on your face. When you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. It is 7:34 a.m. as we welcome you back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Viewers, in this segment, we are having a conversation with Secretary Terance Baynes of the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport. And this morning, we're actually speaking specifically about the United Nations Economic and Social Youth Forum that would have been recently attended. Good morning to you and welcome, Secretary.
Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to all our viewers, listeners to the Updates program.
All right. As we get the conversation started this morning, your division continues to be in focus, naturally because of its areas of responsibility. Most recently, speaking to your attendance as part of the national delegation for the Economic and Social Youth Forum, which took place. Tell us a little bit in the first instance about your involvement and the Tobago component of that national delegation.
Yes. And again, good morning. And Secretary Hackett and I were invited by Minister Cummins, the Minister of Youth Development and National Service, to be a part of a government delegation to attend the conference. And it was certainly a very surreal moment for us and so on. And the conference itself was a very dynamic engagement. This ECOSOC, as is called, the Economic and Social is Economic and Social Conference, really, driven primarily by young people and so on, and in direct relation to COVID-19, how we can accelerate that in terms of response and so on, the engagement of young people involved in the social development, economic development, holistic development of the various jurisdictions that they find themselves in.
All right. So we see that the conference would have taken place over the period April 25th to the 27th. What would you identify as some of the core things or what we discuss as outcomes coming out of this conference?
Yes. I think the main thing for us was the emphasis on a national youth policy that would drive all the engagements in the various jurisdictions. The presenters across the world, that was one of the most acid points that came across, because of course the delivery of youth services would have been impacted by whether there was a policy, and the rigidness and the relevance and the impact of the policy itself, and so on. So that was, to me, one of the most engaging thing. And of course, you had several contributions from young people across the globe, in their various jurisdictions, what they're doing individually and collectively and so on, the various organizations that they lead, how they were impacting their countries despite of the various challenges that may have existed in those jurisdictions.
All right. Now, as part of your visit, we also understand that you'd have had the opportunity to connect with the ambassador while out there. Tell us a little bit about that interaction.
Yes, that was a very interesting interaction itself. We were told by the ambassador, Mr. Dennis Francis, His Excellency, that we were the first, Secretary Hackett and I were the first THA officials to visit the mission. Since it started, I think in 1970, I was told. And so that was a very, very enlightening and encouraging thing for us, and so on. The mission took extremely good care of us in terms of all the protocols and so on. Every day there was an officer with us to take us to and fro the conference and making sure that we were okay, and so on, showing us the different sites at the UN and so on. So we were very, very grateful for the way we were treated. And it was just an overall superior experience for us.
Right. Now we note carefully, being part of the national delegation, we have also noted similarly Minister Cummings being a part of recent initiatives, the Tobago Youth
Yes.
Awards coming to
Yes.
Tobago, lending
Yes.
support.
Yes. Yes.
Would you say that this is at least one arm of THA and government relations that can work to the benefit at this point based on the relations that you all have?
That is true. That is true. I mean, we know historically of the abrasive relationships that have existed. We know the animosity that is apparent, and it seems as if we can't find some peace to work together. And since Mr. Cummings took office, and he's made several visits to Tobago, and he has always been very cordial and so on. And I think that the relationship as it relates to delivering youth services to our people, I think that is something that we have to try and nurture and develop. And so far, he has been very open. We actually sharing and so on. These images represented a backup meeting that we had. Not backup, but a follow-up meeting, right, rather, that we had coming out of the conference, because there are lots of national programs for young people, and that includes Tobago, of course. And so we wanted to look at those programs that we believe may be tailor-made to the Tobago context and see how those things can benefit Tobago. One thing that we are talking about the new program that we have to register youths and youth organizations and so on. We are talking about having some partnership, because that is something that the minister and his team are very, very interested in, and so on. And we're looking at how we can partner and see if we can move it from just being on the desktop to an app available on your phone. So we are trying, we're having some conversations to see if that can be realized.
All right. So you touched generally where I was heading in terms of what would be follow-up. Any other key things that you would see as pivotal to where you would hope this relationship would continue to benefit the people of Tobago? Sure.
And again, the information was very, very important so that we could know what is happening. And there's a whole a plethora of programs that they have been rolling out and so on. One of the things that come to mind very quickly, I think the Guyanese government is doing it in some shared houses to Trinidad and Tobago, and 3 of those should come to Tobago. So of course, we want to take advantage of that. You know, the importance of agriculture and all that, and getting our young people involved. We're listening to the interview yesterday from the Security Council, and one of the things that Mr. Hazel was saying is that those that seems to be vulnerable and engaged in crime are between the ages of 18 and 37. And so as part of our fight to try and even make Tobago a much more secure place for all of us, we want to make sure that at Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, we do everything in our power to afford young people opportunities, to let them know what is out there that they can engage in, so that can be an alternative and kind of help them to not engage in activities that are destructive and so on to themselves and to the society.
So is it safe to say that, coming out of the experience with this conference, the relationships that are being built, and of course the support the division and the THA continues to lend, to young persons, sporting organizations, community groups, that we will see this amounting collectively to what is now that critical effort in terms of treating with the same thing that you mentioned coming out of yesterday's initiative?
Sure, because we are all in agreement that to try and treat with the problems in the society, all of us have to play our part individually, collectively, and as organizations and so on. And of course, as a division, we are sensitive to these matters, and so we have to do the best that we can. One of the things that I am also very encouraged about, we at the division, with the principals there and the youth work and so on, have already, we are at the place where we have a youth policy. We are now reviewing that. I expect that this will go to the Executive Council next week. and so on. And that will be, of course, the template, the reference point for the delivery of youth services on the island of Tobago and so on. So I'm very excited about that. We have to be very vigilant. We have to make sure that the programs are robust and sustainable and so on. And try our best to create the best environment for all our people to thrive, and of course, in this case, our young people especially.
All right, certainly. Secretary, any other key things you would want to highlight as we go forward? Because, I tend to mention you have the kind of division that touches every aspect of Tobago.
Yes.
And key
yes.
in connection with education to that future when it comes to our human resource and our people.
Yes. I mean, just two things very quickly. Of course, the first one is this weekend is Mother's Day, of course. So we thought as a division that we'll try to do something. So what we have done is reached out to all 15 area reps, and we at Community Development will give each area rep 25 food vouchers and 25 bottles of non-alcoholic wine to stay on the safe side. You understand? So that they can choose mothers in their districts that they think are so deserving and just make a gesture to them. So this is our gift to all 15 districts across the island for Mother's Day this weekend, and we hope that that goes a long way to encourage. I mean, the work of mothers, it never ends. They are like superhuman beings, and so we want to do that. Additionally, we are working feverishly, Julian, to set up what we are calling the Tobago Skills Training Center in Patience Hill. We are working with this. We have some challenges here and there, and this is coming out of the kind of response that we have been seeing with the skills training work that's happening in the various communities now. And of course, this is one of the flagship programs of the division, and it has been so successful. Since I came, the intake of students is overwhelming, of teachers is overwhelming. So we felt that it was prudent to have a full-scale institute. And so we're working with that. We're still in the preliminary stage, but we're working. I am determined for us to deliver this because the service are needed, and many, many persons will be in a better place in terms of their own personal development, adding to the development of this island.
I think that would certainly be warmly welcome in terms of, and that's the vocational skills training.
Yes.
So not just in the communities at a given point in the year, but really looking at an avenue for full-time rollout and building that skill set.
And certification as well.
Correct, and the certification that follows. I got a quick message coming in, and I had to echo the sentiments via WhatsApp. Secretary, are we also getting a commitment that in June next month, with Father's Day, that there will be that similar effort going out into communities?
But of course, that goes without saying.
Good. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much then, Secretary Terance Baynes, for joining us here on set this morning at the Tobago Updates Morning Show, really bringing an update to us in the context of the recently held conference, and more than that, making the connection beyond in terms of initiatives happening and the good relations between both the division and the ministry with responsibility, as well as areas for further growth and development that we can look forward to within the division of community development, youth development, and sport. Thank you so much, Secretary, for joining us here on set. Coming up next, folks, in our upcoming interview, we will be having Miss Arlene Daniel and Clavia Simpson, Rhythmic Vibration. And I really want to say kudos and congratulations ahead. I've known Miss Daniel from as early as my days in Scarborough Methodist. Some people didn't know that I had a singing voice then. Venturing out in that area, and more than just doing singing and dance and so on, really an encouragement to our young persons. I'm happy to see the continuation of the efforts and engaging a younger persons to be a part. So kudos going out to Rhythmic Vibration and the work of Miss Arlene Daniel and the entire team. So we look forward to that discussion coming up next with the upcoming initiative. And we want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to connect with us here and for choosing the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Those of you joining us via TV, those listening in on the radio, and to each and every one of you connecting with us online. It's Friday in May. A magnificent month indeed. And I want to say at this point, we want to remind you, and Secretary, you're joining with me, to remind them to Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Indeed.